Hey guys. Eric. John. Tim. We are D&D Miniature and Board Games. Hey, we just got done playing Splat Attack, the new game by IWD for the Nickelodeon characters. As you know, we always score on 5 categories with a 1 to 5 score. 5 being outstanding, 1 being a steamy pile of cow dung, and 3 being average. Nothing good, nothing bad, just in an average zone. We score on what? Graphics and artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Rulebook.
Components!
Replayability.
Fern.
Fun.
Fun.
Alright, Tim, take the graphics.
It's Nickelodeon. Everything is from the Nickelodeon shows. The things that may not be from the Nickelodeon shows look like they would be from the Nickelodeon shows. I gave it a solid 4.
John.
Cool. Well, I agree with you that it does follow the color scheme, and I gave it a 3. To me, there's some areas that it could have been better. Some of the cards were very, very basic, and going through.
You're basic.
I am basic, and that's why I'm going to basically leave this as 3.
I gave it a 3 as well. Though they did a good job with the character cards themselves, the regular cards, the board, the tokens, everything was just really basic. I just gave it a 3. So let's move on to Rulebook, because that's what we want to talk about. John, take it, because I know you have many things to say.
So this rulebook is not very long, but I rated it a 2 because, in all seriousness, a lot of areas repeat, and there is not the explanations in as simple layman terms as it needs to be. The key word of the day would be orthogonally. Orthogonal. Sorry, I can't even say it because it's ortho.
It was in move.
It's move and in throwing. Orthogonal.
Really? Orthogonal?
Orthogonal, because I know what that means. No, so when you're going in, you're doing the rule book. We understand that you're going to have some spots that you may repeat a couple things. This repeats numerous times, even in the same section, 3 lines apart. It'll say the same thing. And then you get into terms that people don't understand without a true explanation. Put a little note there to say what it really means. This means 90 degree. This means do this.
Go linearly straight.
Yes. We actually looked that term up on Google and still found ourselves scratching our head, but we figured it out, I think, to the most part. So the other area was some of the terms that were abilities on cards that you're supposed to be able to pick from. We didn't even find them in the rule book. So how am you supposed to make a choice of whether something is spicy if that was not one of the terms that was found? So that's why I went with a 2 on the rule book. I was not happy with it.
Tim?
I had the rule book read to me. Oh, wait. There's more. Listening as they were explaining the rules.
Actually, we were reading directly the rule.
To have to reread a rule 3 times, go through 3 different people to try and figure out what it possibly means, you might be overdoing it just a little bit. And the fact that there are things missing in the rule book that there are on the cards. Yeah, come on, guys. Just come on, man. Just come on. You know, I'm missing stuff. You know. So, anyways, I gave it a 2, and that's because I think a 1. It's not a 1. It does explain how to play the game, It just doesn't do it well. Eric?
I was more generous. I gave the rule book a 3. Though I go along with the orthodontic, or whatever the ortho was, and several things we had to read several times, it was still understandable. It was still able to play. I think you just put too much into it. But the other problem is, like they said, there's things missing in there. Things that, it's your keywords on one of the cards. There was only 3 of the 5, I believe, was in the keywords. So, this rulebook needs work. Can you play it with the rulebook? Yeah. Is it a little bit more difficult than it needed to be? Oh, yes.
It's almost like when they started out making the rule book and everything, they were really into it and they were with it, and then like eventually they just got frustrated and they just started slapping whatever went on the page.
You're right.
And they had to look up a Greek word just to put it in there, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll the components, by the way. I gave components a 3. Guys, the figures are phenomenal. I love the figures. And if I was basing it solely on the figures, you would have got a straight 5, because they were great. But, let's get into it. Character cards that you're going to be using a lot, extremely thin, and the ends are going to bend too easily, tear, and rip. The cards are extremely thin. And if that's not bad enough, your components have things written on them that don't exist. Tim was playing with the... What character were you playing with?
Powder Toast!
Powder
Man.
Toast, which is able to pull 2 cards out of the Splat Attack deck that don't exist. He went through the deck, could not find Powder Toast, or whatever it was you were trying to look for.
Trying to find Powder Toast.
This takes away from your components massively. If things aren't there that have to be there, or your characters can use, that's a problem. So I gave it a 3. It's not that it's bad. I wish I could have given it higher. I really like the figure. I love the figures. And that's, if you watch our unboxing, when Glenn and I did, that's all I talked about was the figures. But figures aren't the only components on the game. So I had to give it a 3. John?
That's me. I can hear. Oh, sorry. No, components. Okay. No, I gave 4 for components. I agree with everything that Eric said. I probably was a little swayed in that I really liked a lot of the figures, and gave them a little bonus on that aspect. Everything else, it is thin, and it will serve its purpose, but for longevity, you're gonna have issues with that. I agree, and when it seems as though you're missing items, and maybe this was just a missing area, but I also see the bags. While that's a nice thing, I see the bags ripping with the folds, the more in and out
Quickly.
This is going to be one of your weakest points going through. Cool idea, but not reinforced the way it should be in order to receive a higher score. But I still gave it a 4 because I really like the minis.
Now, may I add in, though, that if I remember correctly, you could upgrade to get better bags.
Oh.
I just went with the base game. It was an upgrade. Also, one more thing I wanted to add on to it with my components is the card that you're putting your splats on. I think that the boxes, the you're
grid?
putting the grid needed to be a little darker. That could have been in graphics too, but it serves a purpose in components as well.
It works
Tim?
for me.
I give it a 5.
We know you did.
Yeah. This is the cartoons that I grew up with. The figures alone are worth a 5. Are the cards thin? Or the player cards a little thin? Yeah, but I think for the age group that this game is meant for, you know, you take care of it. You know, you do your best to take care of it. You know, this isn't a 5-year-old can play it game. But I gave him a 5, just like I said, for the freaking characters alone. It's worth a 5 if you ask me for components.
Dude, if I'd known what figures we were using tonight, I would have had most of these painted up for the game. As actually,
I still want to know who the Angry Beavers match up with, because there's only 2 of them.
I think it's that you could, because there's only 2, you can match them up with something. 2. There's a couple sets that are only pairs. Replayability, I gave a solid 4. Yeah, with the Kickstarter exclusives, you have several characters you can go with. The food cards, you know, you don't know what you're going to get, when you're going to get it. You can take danger tokens to get additional abilities. And the scores on the bottom of the cubes are, you just never know. So I gave it a 4. I think it's got a pretty good replayability. And, you know, I would replay it. John?
I also gave it a 4. It's going to be replayable until the bags wear out.
Dramatic pause.
Tim?
I gave it a 5.
Of course you did.
There's no explanation needed.
Incoming hot dog!
It's that kind of fun game.
Food fight!
So, Tim, what did you get for fun?
I gave fun a 1. This game was really... No, I gave it a 5.
I was like...
Don't know him.
John, what did you give for fun?
I gave fun a 4. That was dramatic.
So it was above average.
But no, there are definitely fun sections of this. Going in, there was a few times to me that it seemed, well, maybe where it was going a little bit slower.
It's because you're getting picked on.
Because I had mean people playing with me. But no, it's a fun game. Leave the turtles alone.
You picked the characters with the most grid.
I didn't know that I was going to get picked on the whole game. Because
Once we figured out you had the most grid on your characters, I had the Rugrats. They all had like 6.
Just because you didn't know the difference between Susie and Angelica until the final.
Yeah, till it counted.
Yeah. No, it is a fun game. It was fun.
I gotta agree with John. I think sometimes it slowed down a little bit, but I think it was more reading some of the cards, remember doing some of the things, trying to figure out what you wanted to do, and maybe not thinking ahead. Thinking ahead?
Yeah.
Using your head.
I kept playing with all their voices when I moved them or saw them move or when they threw stuff. I just heard their voices in my head saying stuff.
In your head. Stop.
I can...
Stop.
Hey, so I gave fun a 4.
We need people to keep watching.
Overall score, though, was 3.7. It's above average. The graphics and rulebook and even the components, I think, hurt this game. Though I know components with John and Tim were a lot higher than mine. The rulebook...
He's got PT on his shorts, man. Just like in the comics, man.
Listen, IDW, you guys... Yeah, had you guys done a better job with the rulebook, this would have been a solid 4+. But you kind of blew it with the rulebook. Though, yeah, you can play it. It was just chaotic. And not chaotic in a good way. And what was that word, John?
Prometheus and Bob figures. Add them. Prometheus and Bob.
Mr. Crab.
Hey, guys.
Mr. Krabs.
3.7. As always, support your local gaming. We support
Orthodontical.
Discover Games, Fayetteville, Georgia. Game on, guys.
Game on, folks.